Hey everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. 11 o'clock Sunday evening, time for Sunday night live chat. As always, we are live on two formats, both Facebook and YouTube. So, got several guys on YouTube already. Rusty Nails is here, Cameron's here, Big Job's on, Chris is with us. A lot of familiar faces. Glad all you guys made it back tonight. Looks like we did just go up on Facebook as well. So, we'll give everybody a few seconds, get their notifications, and let everybody know we're ready to roll. So I'll try to keep an eye on both formats as we're moving through here. So if you see me glancing back and forth, that's what I'm doing, is trying to keep an eye on both screens. As always, double check your messages before you hit send. We've run into a lot of problems with autocorrect, changing words around on us and things like that. I try to catch as many of the comments as I possibly can. If I can't understand it because of autocorrect, I just have to skip it and keep moving, because we've got too many guys that are getting on here, too many comments coming in, and I try to catch everything I can. But if I can't make it out, I will skip it and go to the next guy, because we just can't spend too much time on them. So please double check your autocorrect before you hit send. Joe's on with us on Facebook. Lee, Rave 4 guy, new, glad you're here. Glad you stopped by tonight. We do this every Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. We got an awesome group of car people on here that hang out with us. So hope you enjoy the chat tonight. As always, feel free to toss your comments, questions, concerns as we move through here. We'll definitely try to catch you as we go. Kim's on with us. Kevin made it. So, and that's another thing about some of you new guys. We've got an awesome crowd on here. Norma's back. A lot of familiar faces. A lot of you people that jump on with us and have really made this what it has turned into. So that's great. Jess even made it tonight. Alan NC's with us. So got a few people jumping on with us on Facebook as well. If you're on Facebook on the Nobody's Show page, I cannot see those comments. This is a shared video from the Nobody Else's Auto page to the Nobody's Show channel, our Facebook page. If you want to comment, participate in trivia, participate in the auction, you will need to be on the Nobody Else's Auto page on Facebook or the Nobody Show channel on YouTube. And as always, if we have issues with the Facebook feed like we've been having for several months, you can always jump over to the Nobody Show channel on YouTube and jump in on with us there. Frank's here, Kenny's here, Kevin's here, Glenn from Minnesota, another one of our regulars. Great to see all you familiar guys back. Chris is here on Facebook as well. So hopefully Facebook will hang in there for you guys as we start moving through tonight's chat. So kind of start working into things here. As always, we'll kind of stick with the format we've been working with for the last few weeks, starting with an open chat session for a while, going into a badge, emblem, ornament, a magazine, trivia, raffle, auction piece, new inventory, and new videos. So that's where we're going. Trevor's on Facebook. First time you're here. Glad you made it. So anyway, looks like we got a great crowd on already. So that's always exciting. Starting off with some things that have been going on in the world today. Dan made it. Glad you're here. Lost another one this week. We're talking a little bit about music before we get into cars too much. Meatloaf passed away this week. Paradise by the Dashboard Light, an iconic, somewhat of a car song, somewhat of a baseball song, and somewhat of some other stuff in that song. But anyway, we're seeing a lot of these people that, with a lot of the music that we grew up on, just like we talked about when we lost Dusty, was ZZ Top, things like that. It's always a sad day when that happens. A lot of that music we grew up on, we grew up listening to it in our cars, working on our cars. And, it's the signs of the times, but definitely something I thought was worth mentioning. Legendary music, extremely well known. And, some of those guys aren't going to be around forever. So a lot of those guys still tour. They still do stuff out there. And, you don't want to miss any of that you possibly can. So thought we'd bring that up just because we do catch a little bit about music here and there. And I thought that was definitely, that was a big loss as far as I was concerned in the music world. So Ian's here. So Loch Ness Fox made it. He's got Loch Ness Fox has Meatloaf on 8-track. I was actually going to go through the 8 tracks I've got in my Trans Am and see if I had it in there because I don't remember. Kevin liked him too. Yeah, Michael Aday was his real name. Actually, his real name was Marvin Aday. He went by Michael. But there again, when AC/DC was on their last tour, in 2016, we went and saw them in Kansas City, and that was the last concert with Brian Johnson before, because they finished the tour out with Axl Rose. That type of stuff, when you got the chance, I encourage you to go see him. Ken Nolan's here. So that's why I think that stuff is worth talking about. These guys aren't going to be around forever. A lot of us grew up on them, are familiar with them. It's been part of our lives with our car world. And, appreciate this stuff while we can, because like I said, they're not going to be here forever. Don from Nashville's on. So, and that's right. Loch Ness Fox brought up another good point is he was a very talented actor. Did a lot of Broadway plays, musicals, things like that. So just a very talented guy all the way around. And that's what's, it sucks to lose them, but that's why we need to be cognizant of that when they're doing shows, even though there are a lot of them are smaller venues, things like that. When you got the chance, you definitely don't want to miss it. Canulo from Old Mexico's here. So Cameron's back. Kim says he was great in Fight Club. I never saw that movie, but I've seen a lot of stuff pop up about his acting in there. BW's Garage made it. Chris is on with us on Facebook. His first concert was Pink Floyd. And that's right. Glenn says life passes quickly, and it does. And that's something that, when these performers that we grew up with and have been part of our lives, a lot of them are still out there playing. They're playing at sometimes smaller venues, but that's great because you got a chance to see them. So, I would encourage anybody to go do it while you can, because they're not all going to be around forever. So let's enjoy it while we can. So thought that was worth bringing up to start with. Obviously, and that's right. Chris said he was in Wayne's World as well. That's true. That was another movie that he was in. Rocky Horror Picture Show. A lot of cool stuff. So, Big Josh says his grandson's seen the Batman sign. And Jess mentioned the sign as well. We just as well catch that while we're working through here. Like we talked about last week, I had the Hero Hada Merc up last week. Scott's on with us on Facebook. I have 4 of these, so I just figured we'll just work through the set over the next few weeks. This is the second out of the set of 4 that I've got. When George Barris passed away 5-6 years ago, my daughter and I had actually been on their website looking at some stuff. Well, that was right about the time he passed. So BW Scratch says the Batmobile's the auction piece. No, the Batmobile's not the auction piece. So when he passed, my daughter and I had actually been looking at these signs. We're like, holy cow, if we're going to get them, we better get them, because these are all signed. This one's a little tougher. It says George Barris right here on the side. All 4 of these signs that I've got are signed with COAs. And we were, like I said, immediately after he passed away. So we didn't even know if we would get the signed ones, but fortunately they still had them in stock, and we did get them. So we'll be working through those over the next, we got a couple more to see. Like I said, we had the Hero Hada Merc last week. We'll got the Batmobile up tonight, but these are, I think they're pretty cool. My daughter and I ordered them, and they are all signed with certificate of authenticity. So they were the last batch that he ever signed, and that's all there's ever going to be. So, kind of a cool piece. So that's why I thought we just work through them, because they are great. So that's right. Kevin says cancer sucks. That's true. It's getting a lot of those, a lot of the people that we do love and care about. So, let's see, Loch Ness Fox, 64 F100 short bed fleet side. I don't have any short beds in that. Cameron, you should do a video one of these days about slot cars. I don't really have a lot for slot cars, or less slot cars. Glenn says Alice Cooper's been playing some smaller venues, and that's right. That's some of the stuff to think about and check out. We've seen a lot of those. Like the Kansas State Fair is great about bringing some of them in. We've seen Hart at the Kansas State Fair a couple times. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for some of those smaller venues those guys are still playing at, and let's check them out while we can. Let's see. Ken Nolan, Newell stock 47 Ford car steering wheel. I don't have anything there at all. So. But anyway, so that's the scoop behind the sign. We've got a couple more we'll work in over the next couple weeks, especially since you guys enjoy them. But I thought they were great, and we needed to been needing to get them out anyway. They were still boxed up actually from when we ordered them like 6 years ago. So, but that's the scoop behind them. They are all signed. They're cool pieces, and I was definitely excited to get them. Obviously, this is a big week in the car world. Rusty Nail says he's got a feed issue on YouTube, so hopefully a lot of you guys aren't running into that, but we apparently are having a feed issue on YouTube. So Chopper One made it tonight. Glad you're here. But Barrett Jackson started. I didn't start selling yet. Their preview was this weekend. They start selling tomorrow. So obviously, probably going to be a lot of interesting things to talk about next week as far as Barrett Jackson. But as always, they've got a phenomenal docket. They are listed as 100% no reserve this year, so things should be interesting there. There's definitely going to be some big dollar cars as always. Cameron says it's still ticking along on his end, so that's a good sign. Obviously there's some stuff that I want to see sell. Nothing I can afford, but like the last Grand National will be rolling across the block next weekend. And of course, all the normal stuff, Cobras, Corvettes, all the stuff we expect to see at Scottsdale. Obviously, after, Meekham's $200+ million 10 days in Kissimmee, the market is strong. Everybody's really, really curious to see what's going to happen this week at Barrett. Eloy made it back with us. That's right, Chopper One. It is going to be interesting. So, yeah, Big Job says I can sell the sign and pay for the loader bill. I hope I've got most of it paid for. I had some money set back for it at the end of the year that I paid him at the end of the year. I'm hoping that covers most of it. But, with Meekham's 90% sell-through rate, $200+ million in revenues, it's going to be very interesting. Chad's on with us on YouTube as well. So, going to be keeping an eye on that. Definitely hope to be watching some of the coverage. I was actually just texting with my buddy Phil Skinner right before I got on to see how things were going. He is there. He actually helps worldwide with their sales, and he writes for Old Cars Weekly. So he's covering some of the auctions this week in Arizona because obviously Barrett is the biggest one, but there are a handful of other collector auto auctions in this same window in the Phoenix area. So there's a lot more going on than just Barrett, so we'll probably talk about some of that stuff as well. But Phil said there is a lot of buzz in Phoenix this weekend about about how things are going to go and what's going to happen. So that's going to be real curious to see how that all shakes out. See if we see comparable numbers to Kissimmee, and see if the market continues on this trend of in some instances bonkers that we've been seeing here over the last several months. And then obviously it came to a crescendo the last couple of weeks in Kissimmee, and I've got a feeling we probably will see another huge exclamation point that come this time next week. So that's right. Chris says RM is also there. That's another good point. RM worldwide, and of course Barrett Jackson. There might be one other one too, but yeah, RM is the other one I was looking for. So thanks for throwing that up, Chris. So. Rusty Nails, ever watched Sullivan Car Auctions? No, I've never watched any of their auctions. I've heard of them, but I've never watched any of their auctions. So it's going to be an interesting week. So Chopper One says used to work for a guy who's part of the Gooding auction. I've heard of them. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of highlight cars, a lot of interesting things that are going to happen this week that we'll have time. We will definitely have to discuss next week on live chat. Classic Ride Society from Fort Worth made it. Glad you're back, and always appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us. So Cameron's just not a big auction person, and I enjoy them. I love going to the Meekham's that we go to. You get to see a ton of cool cars, but the thing about it is when we go to Meekham's, my dad goes, sometimes my daughter goes. We've got a whole group of friends that always go hang out. So it's always a fun time to hang out with a bunch of friends, check out a lot of cool cars, even if you don't buy anything. So Chopper One says he painted a Ferrari for him. So Daniel's on with us. Glad you made it. Randy from California is here. So stay tuned. We'll definitely have a lot to discuss next week about auction week in Arizona that is getting ready to kick off tomorrow with Barrett Jackson. So anyway, what else has been going on? Let's see. Daniel said there was a McMahon auction this week. I didn't see a McMahon auction. 02 Silverado Duramax, $45,000. And that's something else that's another that I'm starting to see. I've seen a lot on Bring a Trailer, those late 90s, early 2000s diesels. Even some of those are starting to roll across the block of collector auto auctions, and those trucks are breaking the bank. So Kevin says Houston Auto Show is this weekend. Big Job says maybe help the F&E auction money-wise on the next one. That's what we're hoping for. We had a great sale this October. We're getting ready to start on that here pretty quick. I need to sit down with Chris so we can start putting the plan together for this year, because even though it's in October, we start on that thing basically in January and February, start getting it lined out of what we're going to do. So, any new vehicles coming next week? Depends on what time to go get. Well, I've got one that came in this week that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So, Cameron says he's only 14, so he hasn't been around long enough to know what he does and doesn't like. Well, you keep hanging out on here. We got a lot of great people on here, and a lot of cool things to talk about, and that's where you'll start developing your tastes as you see what you like. So, but speaking of that, Ken Nolan's got to go run his mother-in-law, and then he'll be back on. So, but something else to bring up. Speaking of inventory, I've got a ton of stuff that I'm going to start putting on eBay. I've got about 40 vehicles. I bought so much stuff last year that I have not had time to mess with, that I have to start thinning some of this stuff out. So if there was anything you guys have seen that I've posted lately that was an intact project and you are interested in it, give me a call on it before I start getting some of this stuff on eBay. I got a 71 El Camino on right now, but I've got a list of about 40 of them that are probably going to be going up on eBay over the next few months. So if there's anything that you've seen I posted recently you are interested in for a project, be sure to give me a shout on that before I get it listed so we can talk about it. So anyway, we'll see what happens at Barrett this week. I'm super excited about it. The other thing we've got coming up, this is episode number 97. 65 F100 from Michigan's here. Like we've talked about, the 100th episode is coming up. Don, what's the eBay store? eBay store name is very simple. Nobody Else's Auto, all lowercase, all run together, no underscores, no spaces. Nobody Else's Auto is the user ID on eBay. So, the 100th episode coming up, and a lot of you guys said just start going back through some of the old episodes. So I got out some of my old notes, and that might be what we do for a few episodes. If you guys are cool with it, you just let me know. Chopper one, have I sold anything to Rusty Nut Relics? Not that I know of. It's nothing by that name that they've specifically mentioned. So, but as we get into Shopcat's on with us, glad you're here. As we get up to the 100th episode, and you guys have brought up, just start going back through some old stuff. A lot of you guys weren't on here when we started doing this on YouTube. There was like 6 people on here. So, and we've got, 46 on right at this second now, and we've still got some people hanging out on Facebook. So, if that's what you guys want to do for a few episodes, it started very, very simple. With basically just this yellow legal pad. And it just basically started with just quick notes, nothing fancy, just write something down, get on and talk about it. It eventually grew to where I was breaking stuff down into sections. So Jess, she remembers, Jess was on with us back then. Chopper One sees is up for anything. Well, that was kind of what some of you guys had brought up for the 100th. And maybe we do it for, start at the 100th, and maybe we end up doing that for a few weeks. And we'll flip through some of these old notes. We won't cover everything. It would take hours. But, we may do that for a few nights. That's up to you guys. If you're cool with it, just let me know, and we'll kind of start prepping for that here for the 100th episode, and kind of start working through just some of the stuff from a couple years ago, and see what we want to do. February 9th of 2020. Kind of weird to look back that was 2 years ago. So Chopper One says he remembers those days. So he's missed a few, but he's usually here. Shopcat says hit the like button. Appreciate that. Daniel, you have a customer that bought one of your vehicles completely rusted out and restored. I've sold a lot of project cars that have been restored over the years for sure. So number one's here. Glad you made it. So unless you guys are opposed to it or you have different ideas for the 100th, we'll just kind of take a few nights and kind of flip back through some of that old stuff of how it started, where it started, and things like that. So as always, I'm always open for suggestions, but that's what we talked about. So I dug them out, and we'll kind of start working towards that. So anyway, who's ready for an old badge and an emblem? Let's get into that. We'll go ahead and catch the magazine this week since we didn't last week. And Old School made it. You didn't miss a lot of Old School, just a little open chat talking about Barrett Jackson and some things like that. So Big Job says archives would be a great addition. Glenn says he thinks he's been here since the beginning. Yeah, I think you have been over on Facebook. So Randy just finished up his snow removal, so glad you made it. I see some beer glasses popping up, so that means everybody wants to see that, I suppose. So, Daniel talked about cars and stuff that's going to be cars and parts hard to find in the future from the 90s and 2000s. Yeah, I think there's going to be some stuff to talk about there as well. But let's go ahead and start working into our badges. We'll start off tonight, like I said, we'll do an earlier one, and then we'll do something a little bit newer and kind of, work our way through some of this stuff. The badges have been a great time. I've enjoyed doing them. I'm glad you like them. Yeah, we did go over the chat rules. We did that right out of the gate, number one. So, lots of people notice the Hudson Badge right out of the gate. Lee's been here since the beginning. That's right. I do definitely remember you've been on here since the beginning. And, we did have when we've kind of flip-flop our numbers, the Facebook feed obviously has hurt the Facebook numbers dramatically, but a lot of you guys who were on Facebook in the beginning have rolled over to YouTube. So I appreciate you sticking with me and hanging in there. So, but anyway, tonight we'll start off with an earlier badge like we typically do. And this is kind of an interesting one. Good color on this one. Beautiful piece when you consider the age. From the Essex Motors Company. Deep red with a white border and letters. Essex Motors, Detroit, USA. This thing is about 1 3/4 inches by almost 2 inches. So it's about 1 3/4 inches by almost 2 inches. This is a pressed fit on the grill shell, like a lot of these are. Classic Ride Society, where the swap meet's planning in Kansas this year. Wichita is coming up middle of March. We will be starting to talk about that in the near future. Classic Ride Society at Century 2. That is in the middle of March. They have their website is up. Sunflower Swap Meet for Charity. Be sure to check that one out if you want to catch that one. Classic Ride. And then probably try to do Lawrence as well in May. But that one I'm not sure about. As of right now, Kansas is open. So, yes, that's another good point that we are going to start working into some of the stuff, the swap meets that are coming up. But Wichita is on middle of March. So, Eloy says that's a nice one. Yeah. Randy brings up another good point. Worried about parts for 90s and 2000s cars. Try getting parts for brand new cars. That's true as well in this world, in today's world. So, but the Essex Badge, this particular one right here. Trevor on Facebook said he used to have a 29 Essex. This is a little bit earlier than that. This is a 24, 25, 26 era badge, according to my new favorite website, American Auto Badges. I hope some of you guys have checked that out. But Chopper wanted to attend Carlisle. Nope, I've never been to Carlisle or Hershey. JRM in any early 70s 442s, no 442s at all. So, but Shopcat said no rentals either. So, but it's this is a nice badge. They're again almost 100 years old. It's nice and flat. And of course, that's another part, the enameling is not popped because it did come off nice and flat. So Shopcat says Essex Badge will work bottoms up. We slide you the Hudson Badge in there too. So everybody can have that. Daniel said he's been to the GM Nationals. It's one of the best shows he's ever been to. Kim says they're going this year to Carlisle and Hershey. Yeah. And for me, that's like 20 some hour drive. So I've never been to either one of any of that stuff. So Nate says he used to have a 17 Buick Encore. It's been in the shop since September waiting on parts. Yeah. So I thought this was a cool badge to check out tonight to start off with. And there again, I love this stuff that you sit here and we're holding a piece. Here we are in 2022 talking about a piece that's almost 100 years old and having a discussion about the history and how these things happened and where they came from and how they've survived for this long in this condition. So cool piece. I hope you guys enjoyed it and definitely thought it was worth checking out. Number one says only 38 hours for him in the Shopcat. So, and that's right, Daniel, especially for interior plastic, 3D printers are going to be useful. I've seen some amazing stuff done with 3D printers. We've talked about that a little bit with some of the stuff when we were down in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, hanging out with our friend Doug Prey, and some of the stuff that they've looked at 3D printing for cords and auburns and things like that. So that's another great point as well. Big Job says I'm a little confused. I hope I don't start drinking while I'm following a car with a badge now. Ben, my 37 Street Rod is here. Glad you made it. Hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for that, Ben. Appreciate it. Randy says Carlisle and Hershey definitely both worth checking out. And yeah, and that would be it's so far for me that it's just usually not feasible. The books in the background, Daniel, these are all pretty much parts books. They're just part numbers and sketches and drawings. So we can actually grab one of these nights. Maybe we'll grab some of that and look through some of those parts books too as well, just because they might be beneficial to help some of you guys if you see some of these books at a swap meet, whether or not it might be something you need in your collection. Jess says she'd love to go to the big ones back east too. So, but anyway, there's the first badge night. Essex Motors, Detroit, Michigan. Beautiful piece, almost 100 years old, in great condition. So. Now, let's move up a little bit to the 60s, Hudson Badge. Old School says he wishes it was a 21. Yeah, the 21, when I looked there again at the American Automobile emblem page or whatever, the 21, early 20s was very similar, slightly different around the white perimeter, and the Detroit was slightly different. Looked basically the same, but different here and a slight difference around the perimeter. Bill, any 71 and 73 Mustangs, no complete cars. I had 2 coupes several years ago. I've got some sheet metal and some things like that I've still got left off of those cars, but no intact cars at this point. Hudson Badge. But so I've got a little bit of stuff for those. If you want to give me a shout, tomorrow I can see what we can do on some of that stuff. But as we move forward a few decades to a completely different type of car. And this is a cool piece. I believe this piece to be Newell stock. I do not have a box for it. But we get up into the 60s, and obviously the cars in the 60s were really starting to come into their own. And this was from a legendary personal luxury coupe, the Pontiac Grand Prix. This badge, I believe, is 62, 63 era. 64, they did change these slightly. So it... nice piece. Like I said, I believe this to be Newell stock. I don't see any scratches on the threads. The back looks very clean. Mark from Syracuse is on with us. Obviously, the Grand Prix, a personal luxury coupe that they made for years. The 62 was an iconic car, beautifully designed car, sportiness of, a performance car with the luxury of a Bonneville and, really, really great cars. The 62s were a beautiful car. Bill, any 64 and a half to 66 Mustang parts. I've got a little bit. I've got one, but it's all coupe stuff. I've got 166 coupe that is a bit that could be built, and I've got a few parts cars in that era. So, let's see. Lots of stuff popping up here. Daniel says, cool. Let's see. Big Job says make great toolbox badge. Yeah, it is. And it is a nice, very flat badge. So it would mount flat, that's for sure. But Bill made it. He's running a little late, but he made it. That's all right. Glad you made it, Bill. And as like Bill always says, he's always got my back on hit the like button. A lot of you guys are great about that, and I super appreciate it. So there's the second badge for tonight. This badge is almost 8 inches long by about 1.25 inches tall. So we're about 8 inches wide on this. I'll hold it up close so you guys can see some of the details, some of the paint in it, because I do believe that the piece is new old stock. And obviously, I've always been a big Pontiac fan. So these type of badges, this badge I've had for years. I've actually got a box that I've been pulling a few of these out of right over here on the floor. I've been carrying that box with me for well over 30 years, gathering up, throwing cool ones in it that I have found and as I've come across. So Big Job says we need a love button. So Bill's on from Alabama. He loves the show. Glad you're here with us on Facebook. So hope the Facebook feed's hanging in there. If not, you can always jump over to YouTube to the Nobody Show channel. And once again, if you're on the Nobody Show page on Facebook, I cannot see your comments. This is a shared video to that page from the Nobody Else's Auto page. So please, if you want to comment or participate in the chat or participate in the auction, trivia, anything like that, you'll need to be on the Nobody Else's Auto page or the Nobody Show channel on YouTube. So let's see. Kim says, stop stealing my material. Bill likes the Batman sign as well. Now I just measure straight across, Shopcat. Straight across, it's 8 inches. So Hudson Badge. Daniel, has anybody been to the American Muscle Car Museum? I'm not sure where that one's at. I don't remember being the one that is specifically called the American Muscle Car Museum. So that's what we've got for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the badges, the Essex and the Grand Prix. These are fun to do. Like I said, I've got hundreds of them. And I enjoy talking about the history, discussing them, talking about the vehicles themselves, just like the 62 Grand Prix. There was so much cool stuff you could get on 62 Grand Prix, the 8-lug wheels, things like that, tri-power, a lot of cool options that really made that 62 Grand Prix a luxury cruiser. And I think it's a car that has never really gotten its due. But regardless, I thought they were cool. I thought the badges were worth checking out. Hope you guys liked them as well. Let's see, lots of stuff popping up here. Daniel says it's in Florida. Oh, I think they sold that last year. They said it's in Florida. It was open to charity events. I think they sold that out last year. I think Meekum sold that right after the Kissimmee last year, if that's the one I'm thinking of. So Eloy says 65 Grand Prix had 8-lug wheels. 8-lugs were actually available from 60 to 68 in Pontiac. Any full size in 60 to 68, you could order 8-lugs on any full size Pontiacs. So there were different variations of them, different center caps, different inserts in the fins, different trim rings. But they were available 60 to, I believe 68 was the last year that 8-lugs were actually available, special order from Pontiac. So anyway, we'll keep the Hudson badge handy because we know we're going to need that as we put away the Essex badge and the Grand Prix badge and get ready to move into tonight's magazine. Daniel, does anybody remember the 86 Buick that had a touchscreen? The 86 Riviera, I think, is when they come out with that touchscreen. So, Mark says we're still waiting to finish the cab over. Yeah, it's on the back burner right now. We haven't done anything with it in quite a while. So, let's go ahead and work towards the magazine tonight. Bill says those 8-lug wheels are fun to change if you don't have the right tools with the wheel off tire. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that rim on that 8-lug is just an outside perimeter. The actual steel wheel is just an outside perimeter. You do have to have a special attachment to get in those lug holes all the way around the perimeter. So yes, they are tricky. That's for sure. So, let's see. Tonight, we're going to do the magazine we were supposed to do last week. So I'm going to go to last week's notes to get ready for the Car and Driver from June of 1973. We showed this last week, but obviously my throat was toast last week. So we're going to do her this week and get into this magazine. Now, one thing that kind of surprised me about this is a full-size regular magazine, but there wasn't a lot of articles in it. It's kind of surprised me. But since there's not a lot of articles, that means we got a ton of cool ads to check out because there are a ton of ads in here. So let's go ahead and get rolling with the June of 73 issue of Car and Driver. Big Job even liked the cover. That was one of the biggest articles, which did take several pages, was a tire test. 15 low-profile, high-performance street tires. That was a several-page article, so that did take a lot of the magazine. What viewer home resident I used to get my voice back? Not really anything. Just tried to take some NyQuil and tried to drink a lot of water and kind of keep things flushing through. So we'll go ahead and get into this issue of Car and Driver. We'll just, in the first article we've got actually is the tire test, but we've got to get quite a ways into the magazine to get to the tire test. They did have some editorials and a ton of ads and some small articles, but the tire test was the primary article in this issue. So that's where we're going to start. Tire test: Bridgestone, Dunlop, Eliminator, Firestone, BF Goodrich, GR50, BF Goodrich, GR60, General Goodyear, McCrary, Michelin, Mickey Thompson, Pirelli, Sears, Semperit, and Uniroyal. Had a really cool picture with a Trans Am looking through a white letter tire at the time at the test track. And this magazine, this article actually got pretty in depth. Number one, NyQuil and finals got me through. NyQuil and vodkas got me through finals at the university. We called it Purple Jesus. Never tried that. So let's check out the tire test from June of 1973 in Car and Driver. And they actually have a lot of pictures. They have a lot of data. And this is a big article. Some great pictures. They did use Trans Ams in this testing. Obviously, in 73, things were getting a little bleak on the performance end of things. So, the Trans Am was one of the few cars left out there that did actually exhibit some true performance. So a lot of great pictures there. The other thing that was really cool about this is they had a lot of data. Dry cornering, wet cornering. They had a lot of charts. They had tread patterns. This is a really in-depth tire test. But like I said, it took a big chunk of the magazine. Acceleration, traction, rolling resistance on all of these different types of tires. And then it broke it down into a lot of, the brand, the model, the type of construction, all of that type of stuff. Like I said, this is a very, very in-depth test for 73 for sure. But a lot of interesting data. There again, looking at in the industry, current times, things that people were actually dealing with on their vehicles. What tires do I want? What tires are going to last? What tires are going to hold up? What tires are going to do what I need to do? Obviously, tire technology that we know of today, light years ahead of what this was, 45, 40, almost 50 years ago now at this point. So there again, it was very interesting for as in-depth as the data. And obviously the only thing that, we could spend the rest of the night going through this article in detail. But for the time, very in-depth, very informative, and really a true in-depth test. Chad, wow, the only thing the tire testing was missing was James Garner and the Rockford Firebird. So number one, the 78-ish Pontiac Grand Am CA package that was advertised in early dirty magazines. The Grand Am CA package, I'm not sure on that unless they're talking about the Can-Am, which was in 77. David W. lives about 10 miles from the BF Goodrich tire plant. So that took, like I said, several pages of the magazine. It actually took about 14 pages of the magazine. So it was an in-depth test, but there didn't leave a lot of room for a lot of other articles either. But there are a few other things worth noting as we flip through here. We'll pop up a few pages here. And since this was June, obviously this would have come out in May. Right around Memorial Day, the running of the Indy 500. So there was a lot of Indy 500 and stuff in here. It was kind of interesting. There was an article, The Boys of Memorial Day. Whatever became of the 33 men who ran the 1952 Indy 500. This is written by Brock Yates, who was, very, very important at-car and driver at this time. This is where the Cannonball Run came from, in this window when he was at car and driver. And this was very interesting, not only to talk about the guys that ran the 1952 Indy 500, and the reason he picked this one and talked about it is he went to the 1952 Indy 500 as a boy with some family. It says we had driven there, my uncle and a couple of friends, in a new 1952 Buick Roadmaster. So he was BW's parched, so I guess he means to see that. So big job. What an L6015 would be in metric size today, that I'm not sure. I don't know on that one. But not only to talk about the drivers from the 1952 Indy 500, and there again, this is an article we could get really deep in, but it talked about the cars from the 52 Indy 500 as well. Number one, we saw it a few weeks ago. It was an ad, but we had no info on it. It's supposed to be a tribute swan song to the 455 and Pontiac's focus on performance. I'm not real sure about that, what that car was, number one. That sounds interesting, that because I'm not sure what it is. Well, I'm going to make a note in case I get time to look. So this was kind of cool because it broke down the cars from 52. And there again, and now we're looking 70 years back. They were looking 20 years back at that point. Now we're looking 70 years back. And there again, it gets in a lot of these details of these cars. And there's so much cool stuff in it that, we could get, we could go forever. Troy Ruttman and the Kuzma with an Offie. Jim Rathman, a Curtis KK with an Offie. Sam Hanks, Curtis KK with an Offie. A lot of Curtises with Offies, Lasovsky with an Offie. Just there again, it could go on, but a lot of Curtis cars with Offie power was by far the most common. And Offies were just about everything had an Offie in it. A few other different types of cars, but they were almost all Offie powered. Number one says it was a G-body. Okay, there was, because they did make a G-body Grand Am in 78, 79 in that era as well. So I'm not really sure which one that was, but they did make a Grand Am in the G-body as well. So, but that was pretty cool that, there again, we could spend hours digging through this stuff, but there again, this is the June issue, would have come out in May. So they had a lot of Indy stuff in here as well. So Out of Order Garage says an L6015 would be a 275 6015 in today's world. So BW's Garage has old bomb fuselages. Not sure where we want to talk about on that, BW. Sebastian, there's a big job, so there'd be a conversion chart on that. So, anyway, so that was kind of interesting with all the old car stuff. Like I said, the Offie powered stuff. I don't know a ton about Offenhauser engines, other than some of you guys have been hanging out for a while, you remember the molds that I've got, all those wooden molds for the Offenhauser engine parts that I got at Mecum Indy a couple years ago that we've looked at a few times on here. So that I pay a little closer attention when I see something that says Offie now than what I have in the past. So. We'll kind of keep wandering our way through here. Like I said, just more and more and more Indy cars from 52. There again, several pages of it. And there again, not a lot of articles, but some of these took a lot of pages up. So, and then they also had an Indy preview for 1973 with Indy cars that, we're much more familiar with what we've seen over the last 50 years now, as far as Indy cars go. Sebastian, is the Mercury Turnpike still available? I do have a guy that wants it. I've got a deposit on it. I'm waiting for the family to get me the title on it. But I do have a guy that wants it. And as of this point, he has a deposit on it. And he's given me a deposit on it. So I think it is going to be going down the road. So let's see. Lots of comments popping up here. Number one, Offenhauser had a lot of air-cooled VW and Fiat parts and accessories that I was not aware of. Vic made it from Hawaii. Forgot about the time difference from Hawaii. Well, at least you're on there, so at least you made it for a while. And if you're in Hawaii, you're doing a lot better than I am, because I'm still stuck in Kansas. So. BW says he was looking at the racers, and it popped into his head. Oh, as far as belly tankers, things like that. So. Jess loves the Turnpike Cruiser as well. But the Indy preview for 1973, there again, we're seeing stuff, open wheel cars with very sleek bodies that we've seen, continue to be developed into what we know as F1 and Indy cars even today from the 1973 issue. However, obviously dramatically different from looking at these cars a few pages back from the 1952 version of kind of the jelly bean belly tanker type stuff. So Old School says he's stuck in Canada. Vic says he's on his birthday trip. Well, that sounds like a pretty good plan. So we'll flip up a few more pages now. When we do Motor Trend and things like that, we always look at the Detroit report. Car and Driver used a Now report. They talked about Now. That's literally what they called it. Just Now. Kind of similar when we check out the Detroit report. Tidbits of news from around the automotive world at that time. Right here at the top, this is when the Model A Replicars were starting to come out. The most common one that most of us are familiar with, the Shea replicas on the Model A's of the Pinto drive lines. This one was not a Shea, but this was some of the earlier ones. This one is the Stephen Rand Corporation of Northbrook, Illinois. It says they're either way ahead of things or hopelessly far behind. Either way, they have managed to convince Ford that a fiberglass-bodied Model A Replicar with a 302 V8 automatic and suspension pieces from a new Ford is just the thing for dealers to display on their showroom floors next to Thunderbirds and Galaxies. Ford has agreed to warranty the running gear for 6 months and will allow Ford dealers to finance the cars through Ford Motor Credit. At $75.95, the Model A is available as either a rumble seat roadster or a touring car. So what you call your instant street rod courtesy of Ford, and you don't even have to build it yourself. So there again, the Stephen Rand Corporation, never heard much about those. Obviously, the Shea replicas always, are the ones that are by far the most well-known ones. Lots of comments popping up here. Let me try to catch a few of these before I get too far behind. Shopkins says lots of Canadians on tonight. And there are several of you from Canada. I'm glad you all made it. And, of course, Vic's in Hawaii, so he's doing better than any of us. But what else was going on in the Now report? What's a Wankel? American Motors has obtained the rights from Curtiss Wright, the holders of the Wankel patent for the U.S. to manufacture rotary engines from 80 to 100 up to 200 horsepower here. AMC will pay $1.5 million for the basic rights and another $18.5 million over the next 15 years in royalties if it actually produces engines under the agreement. AMC has the option to expand into other areas of production should it choose. All 4 major U.S. automakers now have some sort of Wankel agreement, and their rotary should appear this year, which there again, we're looking back with 2020 hindsight, and there was never, I don't think AMC ever did use a rotary engine in anything, as well as neither did Ford, GM, or Chrysler in a regular production vehicle. I could be mistaken. There may have been some available, but nothing that was ever done on any sort of scale for sure. Kevin says, you think those pictures would be in color in 1973? No, still not that common. There is some color in this one, but not that common. Way more black and white in this magazine than color for sure. So, but a few other things that we know now, Pontiac Vega, it looks as if the Nova-based concept is not the only GM small car to be shared by all divisions. Pontiac now has a Vega mutation that's what they called it, a Vega mutation with a different grille and taillights for the Canadian market called the Aster. It will be sold in the U.S. beginning in September. So that's, we all know that did happen. Another one, and it's kind of interesting, right here at the bottom, Nuff Novas. Jason's made it. Glad you're here. Nuff Novas. There again, everybody had one, it seemed like, in GM at that point. In addition to Oldsmobile's Omega and Pontiac's Ventura, Buick now has a version of the Chevy Nova Compact called the Apollo. It comes with basically the same range of options and standard equipment the other GM divisions offer. Body styles include various sedans and a hatchback coupe as offered by the other divisions. The body gets a new grille with impact bumpers at the front, different taillights at the rear. The hood receives a more pointed contour at the front to go with all the other changes. Interior trim is different as well, to bring the Apollo into line with Buick luxury. Wire steel wheel covers, fake portals also make the Apollo a Buick instead of a Chevy, Pontiac, or Olds. So, but there again, it's kind of a, once again, same thing, different badges. So, old school, have I ever been to Cuba? No, I've never been there. Glenn says his mentor had a Turnpike Cruiser, so. And that Cruiser is a cool car. It really is. So, but let's flip forward a few more pages in this issue of Car and Driver. And here towards the back, and this is another kind of a cool piece that I wanted to catch. Let's see. Number one, Withrows, a case of beer tax for being late. Sebastian recently picked up a Ford 359 truck engine. I don't know much about them. It says, is this a bulletproof engine? I don't really know much about the 359 Ford truck engines at all. So, old school, I don't think Americans are allowed to visit Cuba. That I'm not sure about. That's right, Kevin. They call it a Vega mutation. So. Hudson Badge. But as we got to the end of this issue of Car and Driver for articles, like I said, between the Indy articles and the tire test articles, that took out a lot of meat on the out of the magazine. But in the sports section, it talked about a little bit of NASCAR, a little bit of NHRA, the Carolina 500 from Rockingham. David Pearson was the winner with a 71 Mercury. Cale Yarborough second with a 73 Chevelle. There again, black and white, but some super cool old NASCAR footage. Back when, the cars were actually cars. So, so I thought that was cool. A lot of IndyCar stuff in here, but I still like NASCAR up until, right around the turn of the century, right around 2000, when they went to the car tomorrow and everything became the same. I kind of got uninterested pretty quick, but, and then the last page, once again, in the sport, talks about NHRA. For the record, catches a little bit of NHRA coverage as well. So Jason says he was on the road, he was on a grocery run, but he was still watching, so he was still here with us. So we're glad you made it back where you can comment. So, but kind of interesting in that picture, Chevy Lovers Delight, Jim Butcher's Chevy powered recce braking fueler. Obviously running a big block Chevy with a blower and top fuel, and that people were experimenting with it still at that time, but not a very common thing compared to the power they could get out of a Hemi. So, Scott says no turkey hunt. No, I don't think we had a turkey hunt in this issue. We got to get in that 78, 79 window, I think, to catch that. It seems like we'll try to get one of those worked in here soon. Number one says Sebastian, it's a Ford, not a truck. If it has an F on it, followed by 150. Everything about if it's a Ford truck, everything's bulletproof. Okay, I got you there, number one. That's right, Randy. He agrees with me. Stock cars were stock cars, and like I said, I didn't really watch NASCAR a lot, but I did kind of somewhat pay attention to it up until basically right around the turn of the century. Late 90s, early 2000s. After that, they went car tomorrow. Toyota came in. And basically, I've paid zero attention to it ever since then. So I do have a Harvick car in my collection just because I stumbled on it and it was a good deal. And it was kind of cool that I didn't have one. Plus, it's a GM Goodwrench sponsorship. So it's kind of like a big sign in the shop. It just takes up a whole car stall. But and it's like a 2000 Monte Carlo. So, but it actually has the taillight shape and stuff in the body. Is getting pretty vague at that point, but somewhat still look like a Monte Carlo. Jason just couldn't text and drive safely, so. BW is right there with me. He stopped paying attention around that time, so. Ken Knowles says, when I was a kid, I used to raid my parents' cabinet to find the wild turkey. So anyway, let's get into some of these ads because we got a ton of ads. Right inside the cover, something that you don't even think about in a print ad, but at the time was definitely something that you would see, but you don't think about, was the Pantera, the Ford-powered Italian-bodied Pantera, right on the inside cover. Nice big full color ad of a yellow Pantera. Yep, number one. We're going to have an auction here in a little bit. We've got I do have an auction piece for tonight as well. Next ad we're going to check out, black and white, but a big 2-page ad, and I bet a lot of us are going to remember this. Kenny, I believe number 43 was Richard Petty. 43 was Richard Petty back in the day. I don't remember if he was in that picture or not. Yep, that was Richard Petty, number 43. So, but a lot of us probably remember the old Die Hard batteries. Number one was the Pantera steel or glass. I think it was steel, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was steel. But who doesn't remember the old Sears Die Hard battery? The name obviously has been bought out by Advance now. But there's the old Die Hard battery ad that, probably most of us remember from the 70s. Like I said, we got a lot of ads to cover, so I'm going to try to keep moving. Something else that a lot of us probably remember from back then, introducing new Simonize pre-soft and liquid protection that lasts through 52 automatic car washes for Simonize car wax. I thought that was a cool ad. A little bit of color mixed into that one, but definitely a 70s era ad. So Papa T's Garage says it was steel. Okay, Bill says it was steel. So Chad says every car truck from my youth had Die Hard batteries. Big Job says everybody had a Die Hard. Yep. So Randy says, yeah, it was Die Hard Series. Yeah, and Advance paid big money for it. Obviously I'm not a big fan of Advance after what they did to CarQuest since I had CarQuest stores. So, but not a big fan of what Advance Auto does after that experience with them. But they did pay big money for it. I've got some friends of mine that still have CarQuest stores there, and they said everybody was making a big deal out of, they've got a Die Hard battery brand now. I'm like, who cares? You spent so much money on it, we probably can't afford to dig out of it now. Let's see. Shopcast says, is Eric MacArthur in here? I haven't seen him pop up yet. So Sebastian, any 73 Rancheros? I don't have any 73 Rancheros at all. Chad says we call them die-often batteries. Kitty says, didn't mean to go backwards. It's the Hudson Badge's fault. I guess that's another thing. At this point, after we're an hour in, you guys can kind of blame everything on the Hudson Badge. So, number one, Sears made Die Hard. Did they make the sequels, or is that where they went out of business? Now they think they had it. They had the name all the way up till they sold it to Advance a year or so ago. Joe, was the life expectancy of a battery now versus then? I don't really know. I wasn't alive in 73, so I don't know for sure what the life expectancy was back then. This was kind of interesting. Volkswagen announces a limited edition Volkswagen. I don't remember any of these, but it was the Sports Bug. Looks like it was basically a yellow Beetle with a stripe on it. It's kind of about maybe it had a different steering wheel as well, but the Sports Bug Beetle. Thought that was kind of interesting because I don't remember seeing anything like that. Here was a great ad, definitely another 70s ad, stripe package for the Super Jeep. I thought this was super cool. Not a bird, not a plane, but a new thrill under the sun, 4-wheel drive, fun mobiling. Super Jeep is all guts from the brawny suspension to the heavy-duty axle with a lot of cool stripes on the Super Jeep. Great full-color ad for Super Jeep. So, Old School says, what was the Beatles' original name? That I don't remember. Sebastian has an original Hudson watch from 22, but it doesn't work. Randy remembers the Sports Bug in that color combo. Ken Nolan says, yeah, maybe I'll find one now that I have seen the ad. That's true. You do see something like that, you pay closer attention. So see. Do I have any Beetles? David says, do I have any Beetles? Yes, I've got. We've got two of them next door that are my daughter's, a 68 and a 69, that are both. The 69 is restored. I think the 68 was painted once, but they're both, drivers. So Chad says his dad had the Super Jeep ad hung up in his office. So, but that's what's so great about this. Just like that right there, that exact ad pops up. We've got a viewer on here that he remembers his dad had that ad hanging up. So Rusty Nail says he wants a thing. Yeah, things have gotten stupid popular too. So I thought the Super Jeep ad was great. General Tires, obviously, with huge tire issue in here. General Tire does a big 2-page full color ad, pretty big deal in 73. The Hot Cars of 1927 rode on General Balloon 6 tires. The Hot Cars of 73 ride on new General 60 series grabbers. As a 1927 Stutz, parked next to a new Vega GT. So, but there again, this was a big ad for tire, or big issue for tires. General Tire went all out on this ad, being 2-page full color Hudson Badge. So that's what it looks like again, Shopcat. But anyway, we'll keep moving through here. Like I said, so many cool ads to check out. This is a really cool ad. Jason's on a fridge run. We'll give him a second to get back before we pop the Hudson Badge up again. The Plymouth Duster 340, once again, a full color ad. One for the money, bright red Duster, 340 stripes. Alfred, I had a 70 model Beetle, and I've got a bunch of stuff that, and he likes to collectibles and stuff too. So glad you're here, Alfred. I don't think I've seen you comment before. If you're new here, welcome. And definitely want to be on with us on Toy Tuesday when we get into memorabilia. So, but a really good 340 Duster ad, definitely showing off the lines and the stripe package that designated as a 340. Number one says special steering wheel, shifter knobs, seats, and material, black bumpers and chrome trim, extra dash gauge, dealer installed, and 1600cc dual port with a bigger carb or EFI option, wider tires and wheels. So there's the breakdown of the Superbug package. So Ken Nolan is a Duster fan as well. So we're glad you're here, Alfred, and I'm glad you're joining us. So like I said, there's so much stuff here. Another tire ad, and this once again, big 2-color full color 2-page ad for Uniroyal. And talk about an action shot. Uniroyal Thrill Drivers actually has a car in midair. Looks like Pontiac wheels on it, and looks like a Nova body style. So I'm assuming this was a Ventura in this era from the Uniroyal Thrill Drivers. Once again, tire companies putting a huge effort forth in this issue with the massive article on tire testing. So super cool piece. So you're starting to see what I'm talking about, all the ads here. I don't know if Jason's back from the fridge or not, but there's the Hudson Badge, just in case. We don't want him to have to sit there and hold a cold beer too long without having to crack it open. Let's jump up another page here to the 1973 Camaro Type LT. Number one says it also had different gearing and sport shocks and wider bars. So Type LT for the Camaro breaks down the LT was kind of the luxury Camaro. L for luxury, T for touring is what Type LT stood for. Type LT is for those who want a little more Camaro than the basic sports coupe. Yes, everything mentioned is standard equipment. Choice of 5 luxury interiors, variable ratio power steering, LT insignia, rally wheels, twin sport mirrors, front disc brakes, finned rear drum, special LT instrumentation. Once again, nice full color ad touting the 73 Camaro LT. And what's coming up next? Oh, and the next one, definitely a 70s ad of the simple basic Pinto from Ford. And it has, once again, a full color ad. A lot more color in the ads than in the articles, but starts with a simple basic Pinto, says, but it rarely ends up that way, as it shows a much more optioned out, much more sportier Pinto. Hudson Badge. Mary says Mary's on with us on Facebook. She says they had cool ads back then. Yeah, they really did. I haven't seen Mary on with us for a while. Glad you made it tonight. Jump up a few more pages, get past the tires article here, which was several pages, and we'll go to a more refined ad. For Jaguar, the difference between the Jaguar XJ6 and the other highly engineered imported luxury sedan is simply beautiful. Full color Jaguar sedan ad, there again, trying to sell luxury, sell style, sell grace, maintaining their image as a premier luxury brand. Just a still shot, countryside, clean lines, elegance is what they were selling, and that's where they were going with it. Cement Server says he can't recall a Pinto with that much extra trim. Yeah, that's an awful lot. Next ad we're going to check out, and this one's really great, and I'm a big fan of this ad. 2-page full color, and obviously a lot of you know I am a Pontiac fan, and this was a great 2-page Pontiac ad. And what it really culminates with, what it's really selling is one of my favorite cars that never has gotten the credit it deserves. The 1973 Pontiac Grand Am. The sports coupe version, they were available in a 4-door, but the sports coupe was such a great car, and they had such a unique nose. I always thought that the 73 Grand Am was a neat car. Never got its due. Starts off with the 64 GTO, then the first generation Firebird, then into the Trans Am, then into the Grand Am. Great full color. We say now this would be a heritage ad, but they're going back 10 years to the 64 GTO. So not really, at the time, not really a heritage ad. They're only looking at a 10-year window. So Randy says the Mercury Bobcat was an upgrade to the Pinto. Sebastian says that was a sweet Jag. They shared a lot of parts with the Type E. I was not aware of that. So anyway, I thought that was a great ad. Always been a fan of that rubber nose 73 Grand Am, and thought that was a really great way to showcase that car in that particular ad. We'll flip up a few more pages, and actually this definitely caught my eye and kind of had it brought up because of last week, Hudson Badge. If you recall last week when we talked about Kissimmee, they sold off several of the original TV Tommy Ivo drag cars. This AC spark plug ad actually had the Wagon Master in it in this 1973 ad. Entitled Tough, AC spark plugs power some of the toughest cars built. Had a picture of the quad engine TV Tommy Ivo Wagon Master, Buick powered, somewhat very loosely designed after a 67 Riviera, but powered by all 4 Buick nailhead engines. So there again, we were going to do this magazine last week. So this ad definitely stood out since we had the TV Tommy Ivo cars we talked about last week that sold at Kissimmee. So that definitely stood out. Let's see. Number one of those rubber duck Grand Am's low production numbers. I don't know how many of them they made. Not a lot of them survived, but I don't think they made tons of them. Randy, didn't they have a Grand Am Can-Am model? The Can-Am was a model made in 77 off of the Le Mans with a Trans Am hood and a Grand Prix dash. So the Can-Am was technically different than the Grand Am. Terry, first time live chat. He's been missing out. Well, we're glad you're here now. And we're starting to see more more new names pop up. I'm glad you guys are here. We do it every week. So be sure to hang out with us and be sure to check out Toy Tuesday Live when we do that as well. Let's see. What else is popping up? Bill, everybody hit the like button. Welcome, Terry. That's great. Eloy's got a 425. Yeah, because Eloy's got a Riviera. So Ken Nolan has had a Grand Am fall on him. That doesn't sound good. I hope that worked out for you. Okay. Randy, TV Tommy Iwaga was all-wheel drive. That is correct. Randy said he got to see him the last time he drove it. That is right. All 4 of those Buick engines, each one of them powered a wheel, so it was quad-driven. So, anyway, Shopcat says check out Cement's channel. He's for real and does a lot of cool stuff there. We'll have to check that out. So, anyway, definitely wanted to bring that up, even though it was kind of a last week deal. Still definitely worth adding. Rusty Nail says, looks like the last big GTO. And actually, that's exactly what it was. The last big GTO was a 73, the same year before. Well, not technically 74, they made it on the Ventura body, on the Nova body. But it was your 73 Grand Am, 73 GTO was essentially the same thing with some trim differences. So Phil's on with us tonight. Glad you made it, Phil. He's still floored by the price of the Hero Hada Merc. So I'm glad Phil's on with us tonight. But we all knew it was potential. Everybody figured that car was going to do seven figures. Phil knows a lot about that Hero Hada car, and actually lived in the same area where it was from. So, but $2 million is a lot of money. But I'm glad Phil's on with us tonight. Appreciate you stopping by for a minute. I know you got a lot of stuff going on in Phoenix this week, so glad you got by to hang out with us. Sebastian says on the hunt for a Ford Sherman engine. I'm not sure, don't know what those were. Jim in 73, AC was still doing their ads before Delco took over in 74. Okay, was not aware of that. That's something interesting to know as well. But anyway, let's keep rolling through here. Catch some more of these ads. Plus, we've even got a few classifieds in this issue. And who doesn't remember this? This was so great. Even though it's not car related, it's kind of car related. Well, we're glad you're here, Phil. Phil's a great friend of mine, great guy, and helps me out a lot. And super excited he's on with us. Does a lot of great stuff with Old Cars Weekly. Covers a ton of auctions, and glad you made it tonight. So, and we're going to rely on him for some info from Phoenix for next week. So, just so you're aware. How about this? Now you can buy 8-track stereo tapes for only $2.99 a piece. Yep. It's the Stereo Tape Warehouse ad. So who doesn't remember these back in the 70s and 80s where you could, join up and buy lots of stereo 8-tracks and then into cassettes and things like that. So definitely thought that was well worth mentioning on that. Let's see. Comments popping up here. I know I'm missing some. Shopcat says the Ford Sherman engine is a monster V8. Don't know a thing about it, so that does sound interesting. Let's see. Bob says his 70 Bonneville with a 455 will pass everything but a gas station, I'm sure. Apparently everything worked out for Ken Nolan when the jack fell on the Grand Am, because apparently everything worked out with it, so that's good to know. But anyway, definitely thought the 8-track stereo tape ad was well worth checking out tonight. So Randy says he still has some of the 8 tracks he purchased on that membership. So once again, another tire ad. This one not quite as flamboyant as some of the others, but definitely still made a statement. If you buy the wrong steel belted radials, you'll be reminded of it for 40,000 miles. This was a Pirelli ad. The car definitely resembles a Lincoln, but to make a point about how indestructible their tires were, they've got it sitting on tank tracks to compare that they do have good 40,000 mile tires that, or I don't know if they're talking about the ride quality or the dependability. You can kind of take that ad either way. So, but there again, it definitely catches your eye. Alfred's seen a lot of them good muscle cars. He was a pit crew member at Alamo Dragway back when Shirley Muldowney and Big Daddy were racing there in around 73. So let's see. Shopcat had a 70 Parisienne with a Chevy 350. Yep, because that's what the Canadian Pontiacs had. Jason, Missouri High Bid has an online auction going with some really nice gas pumps in Macon, Missouri, if anybody's interested. So Randy says, great at the shows with my old Cobra AM FM 8-track in a 65 Beetle. So Hudson Badge, if anybody's getting thirsty. Anyway, we'll keep rolling. Like I said, so many great ads in here. Champion Spark Plugs talking about Richard Petty. Great action shot of Richard Petty. Black and white, but a great ad advertising Champion Spark Plugs. Number one, does anybody know why the Pontiacs had Chevys in Canada? I don't know exactly what the laws were, but that's, they just all did. I do know that. So. And another definitely 70s ad that we couldn't pass up was STP. Who doesn't remember STP ads, STP stickers? They were everywhere. Something else worth noting here at the top, Andy Granatelli's STP. Another individual we lost this week, Vincent Granatelli, Andy's son, heavily involved in IndyCar racing over the years, did pass away this week as well. But the STP ads, the STP stickers, they were everywhere back then, they did great marketing. There's no doubt about it, because I don't think there was a kid, I don't think you can see a picture of a kid's bicycle from the 70s that didn't have an STP sticker on it. So Hudson Badge. Another cool ad from the area in full color. Stuart Warner Instruments come in a wide variety of prices, faces, housing, mounts, and movements. What never varies is quality. Great ad. Bill on Facebook says he still uses it in his vehicles, and it does. I mean, it's not a bad product. It's still around for a reason. So, but I thought the Stuart Warner gauge ad was, iconic, classic, still relevant even today. So. Chad, back in December, you did a short video of a 69 four-door Riviera. They didn't make four-door Rivieras, so I'm not sure what we're talking about on that, Chad. You'll have to double check that video or give me a call on that. Shopcats, number one says he's got a 64 Laurentian sedan right now. David W. Studebaker partnered with STP, add stickers on the oil caps from the factory. I did not know that. That probably would have been in the 60s. That's kind of an interesting fact. Shopcat, Stuart Warner, like Randall or Shelby the Tracks, just put in his T Speedster. Sebastian is the Indy 500 is in heaven, rest in peace. I'm sure that's talking about Vincent Granatelli. Stuart, number one, go back to the Stuart Warner ad and show the gauge pod. Oh, 69 Skylark. Okay, that makes more sense. Probably that gold one. Yeah, if you want to give me a shout on that, it's still here. I don't remember if she had a title on that car or not, but yeah, just give me a shout on that. And it is pretty much complete. It is a little rough. It just depends on what you need. So there's a Stuart Warner ad again. Randy said the same thing about Studebaker, and as David did, Studebaker's association with STP. Randy on Facebook brought up the exact same thing on that. So is that a single pod above the triple? Yeah, I believe it is. Looks like it's got like a stand or something. I don't know if it was like a dash mount or a console mount type deal, but yeah, it was a single pod, a separate type pod. Big job. Wish I had $1 for every time I headed to the STP joke as a kid. Shopcat, better head in or I'll be in trouble on so many levels. Well, glad you made it for a while. I'm going to kind of keep moving through here because there's so much cool stuff to check out. And this is a great ad. Another definitely 70s ad. Try to get a few of these. That's right. Jason says Louis Anderson passed away this week as well. Hilarious comedian. Did a lot of great stuff back in the 80s and 90s. We lost him this week as well. So that's right, Joe. STP stood for Scientifically Treated Petroleum. That is correct. I love working some of these ads in with some of these old beer and cigarette ads as well. Terry says his uncle was a big STP fan. Well, who remembers Olympia beer? Obviously, this one's showing the fire department preferred Olympia beer, but we'll kind of get up here close where you can see the bottle. I mean, it's just such an iconic look from the 70s that definitely thought we had to throw the Olympia beer ad in. One more ad that we're going to catch, then we're going to look at a couple of classifieds, and then we're going to get rolling. Cement Surfer Ollie 1. Out of Order Garage says STP is stay together, please. I've never heard that Out of Order Garage, but I bet there's a lot more people that have gone in with that attitude than we even think about. Stay together, please. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, Old School, we talked about Meatloaf right out of the gate tonight. That was the first one we caught. So, Big Job says he was on TV with Louis for real in Vegas. That's cool. How about the shift knobs from the 70s? The aftermarket shift knobs that you could order from Amco Company. Elegance in Hand with a shift knob by Amco. I'm sure a lot of guys remember those from back in the 70s as well. Kenny says, totally enjoying the old ads. And he remembers the old man drinking Olympia. Yeah, I think like I said, I'm the stuff from the 70s. I get bits and pieces I remember, but I definitely remember that. And that's right. Randy sponsored the Parnelli Jones Bronco and the Baja, which Meekum sold at Indy this year for over $1 million too. So there's the ads for this month. But they did have classifieds. Not a ton of classifieds. We did have the Car and Driver Marketplace, and there were a few ads definitely worth checking out. 1964 AC Cobra, $289, rare. That's the ad. $6,000. Daytomosa Mangusta, 1970, 17,000 miles, $8,000. So kind of crazy there again, but that's why we love looking back at the old ads. And there's not a punch in here, but a $6,000 Cobra was definitely worth mentioning in 1973. Ken Nolan, Meatloaf, they did a movie about him. Jack Black has to play him. That would be a great person to play Meatloaf in a video or in a movie. BW's Garage, anybody remember Cherokee Red Soda Pop from the 70s? I don't, and I don't remember seeing any of those ads, but that's something that definitely would be worth keeping our eyes open for. But like I said, not a lot of cars in here, a lot of club ads, apparel ads, things like that. But the $6,000 Cobra was definitely worth mentioning. That in the classified ads of the era. Number one, Ollie had fat bottom bottles. Cement Server was a Cobra ad. Yep, that's where you could pick in 1973. You could pick up a '64 Cobra 289 for $6,000. It's just bonkers to think about that, but Can Nolan, they still make Snow White cream soda. Never heard of that one. BW's Garage says it must be a Western PA soda, and that's possible too. There were a lot of regional stuff back then too. So that's what we've got for the. Oh, hell, let's catch the inside back cover, too, while we're here as I'm flipping through. We've talked about Turtle Wax a little bit. This is actually quite an ad for Turtle Wax from 1973. Inside the back cover, full-color ad, shows the turtle shell, the turtle coming out of the car, showing off the hard shell finish of Turtle Wax in 1973. So, BW says you can Google it, and it'll have the ads. So, speaking of drinking something, there's the Hudson Badge for everybody. And for some of you new ones that haven't been on here before, that's kind of an ongoing inside joke since we have had a few new names pop up. The Hudson was the badge we talked about several weeks ago. It kind of became the drinking badge of the Sunday Night Live chat. So I have to keep this one on my desk. We flash it up occasionally so everybody can take a drink. So if you're new to us, that's why we keep flashing the Hudson Badge. But that pretty much covers the June of 1973 issue of Car and Driver magazine. Like I said, not a ton of articles, but an awful lot of great ads. So it worked out. We got a lot of cool stuff in tonight for it. So Old School says he's drinking tea tonight. Well, that's okay too. So that's right. Somebody put a comment up. There was something else that Meatloaf was actually in Dallas when JFK was shot. I think Old School threw that up, and then Alfred just commented on that he was at Parkland. Oh, and he'd gotten interviewed. I didn't realize that he gotten interviewed at that point either. Kenny says cool magazine. And number one says, if you're new, get 2 beers in your wallet for next Sunday. That's a great way to put it, number one. Brandon says howdy. Ken Nolan, 6 times people getting hammered. Phil, have you found a favorite in the Scottsdale sales yet? Me personally, Jason says he can't keep up. Me personally, the last Grand National is what I am probably more interested in than anything. That car actually, kind of get off on a side note real quick. And actually right there in the case right behind me, I still have the issue of inside Buick that my dad brought home from the dealership that he was service manager at when Inside Buick did an article in their internal publication on that car being built. I've read it a million times. I've still got it. I still look at it. That car, I've loved that car since I read the article when I was probably 13 years old, and I've still got it. I'll get it out for next week. But that car is what I'm probably the most curious to see what happens. I know the numbers are going to be crazy, but that's what my has piqued my curiosity probably the most since Phil asked. So, let's see. Jason said he's not new and he still needs to. But that's what I'm the most curious about to see at Scottsdale. The Rain Man Buick is available as well. Phil sent me a picture of a beautiful El Morocco that's going to be going across the block. I think Worldwide has that El Morocco. El Moroccos are amazing cars. I've seen a few of those in person. So, just like I said, so much cool stuff. But that Grand National is probably the thing that I have the most curiosity about. So, anyway, let's keep rolling. Let's get into trivia. Let's talk about the raffle. Let's auction off a oil can. Let's talk about some new inventory. So, raffle time. Tonight, we're going to give away another little notebook from Garlock's Esso Station in McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania, Stevens Esso Station in East Lewistown, Pennsylvania, and Bollinger's Esso Station in West Lewistown. Just a basic little notebook, nothing fancy inside. On the back, Chief Wonders of the New York World's Fair. So, kind of an interesting little piece of Esso memorabilia for tonight's winner. Terry says he was wondering what the badge was all about. Yep, that's kind of it. We're kind of having, every week we've got a few newbies on, so, and we're glad you're here, but that's why we got to clarify the Hudson Badge about every week anymore, which is great because we've got new guys on that are curious about it. So that's what it is. But tonight, the Esso notebook on tonight's trivia, as we've been starting to do, we will time this. We're going to give everybody 60 seconds. So you have to be paying attention to the videos from last week to make sure that you get in time. Number one, you're going to buy some bubblegum signs and motion action beer signs in Scottsdale. I won't be there. So number one says, Terry, get your wallet and chug 2 beers college style. All right, tonight's question. After I read the question, I'm going to hit the stopwatch. You're going to have 60 seconds to answer the question. And if we don't get it in time, we'll roll the notebook into next week. So, in the video on the 1977 Dodge pickup, where was that truck sold at? What was the dealership? We've got the timer started. We're going 60 seconds. I'm keeping an eye on both formats, Facebook and YouTube, for the dealer on the 77 Dodge pickup. As we get ready to start talking about the raffle, Eloy says he was actually in Kansas City last week, which I'm a little ways from Kansas City. You're out in my neck of the woods. So what dealership was the Dodge truck sold at? I've got some guesses coming in that I think that's where they're going, but it's not close on spelling if that's what you meant with it. So that's right. Number one got it. Martinet Motors. That is correct. Number one is our winner tonight. So, Martinet Motors in Larned, Kansas was where that Dodge was sold at originally. That's right, about 25 miles away from you. Super cool old truck. If you didn't check out that video, it's really cool. I mean, it's just basic 2-wheel drive long bed, but it's got factory rally wheels, factory tack, factory AM, FM, of course, steering, brakes, air. Pretty neat old pickup. So if you missed that, be sure to check it out. The raffle. We'll talk about the raffle, then we're going to get into the auction. Lee came in with it a little bit later too. So But the raffle this month, we do have some people getting in on the raffle. Glad that the raffle is still alive after last month. We've had several people jump in now. So Terry says he doesn't drink. He's just an old preacher who loves cars. That's fine. You can hang out with us as well. So number one says he did some serious homework. Just ask him and BW. So. But the raffle for this month, we'll start off with the spark plugs, just like we talked about in the AC ad, an original AC spark plug in box, as well as a super cool Skelly box with plug in it and a Skelly plug as well. So if you are new to us, this stuff is all going on a raffle. It is $1 per chance. You send me $5, you go into the big Buick oil can 5 times, $10, 10 times, $20, 20 times, etc., etc. Old school, this has got a bad memory. He's never going to win again. So for some of you guys that are new to us, we do a raffle every month. And those names in the can right now, we're going to go over those here in just a minute. We're going to talk about what the winner is going to get. The 2 spark plugs. A metal Haviland can, nice condition. It has been drained from the bottom. The top still looks original. So this can will go into the winner. Jason says he has to win this raffle. Mobile oil outboard, metal can with Pegasus, application chart on the back, great can. A few dings and dents in this one, but still great color. So those 2 cans, those 2 spark plugs, and the license plates that are going with this pack. Starting off with a new old stock 1974 Kansas plate, a 1975 Kansas plate. These are old, actual, original metal plates, stamped steel plates. A new old stock in original packet. '56 Kansas plate. In its original bag, plate number 10825. And this envelope even still has plate number 10825 right on it. So original plate, original package. And one other interesting license plate. The Missouri 1943 wartime plate. Yep, that's it. Went on top of your old plate. Obviously metal rationing. This is steel. Just a small metal plate that went on top of your other ones for war rationing in the 40s. When we compare this to the physical size of our normal license plates, you know, pretty big difference. So the winner of the raffle that we are going to draw next Sunday night is going to get that entire prize pack. Like I said, it's $1 a chance to get in. If you guys that are new to us want to get in, you can use PayPal, friends and family, or you can mail it to me in the mail, check, money order. Some guys just throw 10 or 20 bucks in cash in there. Just make sure you put a note in there that it's for the raffle, and make sure your contact information is on whatever form of payment you use. Now, who's in right now? As of right now, this is who is in. Let's see. Norma, I've got yours already, so you're good. Jason says he's got this. Number one, what were the plates on the 55 Olds and the 77 Dodge? The 55 Olds was a 76 Kansas plate, I think. I don't remember about the Dodge pickup. It was a newer one, probably in the 90s. Let's see. Yes, Mary, there is still time for the raffle. You can PayPal's obviously instant. PayPal, friends and family. When we get done with this video, the PayPal address and the mailing information are both in the text part of this video. So after we get done, you can go back and click on it. That information is in there. PayPal, friends and family only, and that'll get instantly. Or if you got a checker in the mail first thing in the morning, I would probably still have it by next Sunday. So, Ken Nolan says that plate's a little piece of history. It kind of is. So, Sebastian says he's going to throw his in the mail. So, Hudson Badge. But as of right now, here is who is in. Norma, I did get yours Friday, so you are in Friday or yesterday, one or the other. But regardless, I've got it here. Al, I've got yours in North Carolina. David Woodcocks, I've got yours. Ron Walensky, big job, I've got you. Lee Carr, I've got you. And Brian Winters, BW, I've got you. So that's who is in as of right now. So if I haven't gotten yours and you want to get in, make sure to get it in there. Jason, I don't see you in here. So I guess we'll see if we get something from you this week. A couple of you are already pretty serious about this raffle. So we'll see how things go. But if I didn't read your name off and you think you've already paid me, be sure to get a hold of me and let me know so we don't miss you in the raffle. Everybody that I read off, your name is in there right now. So we'll draw for next Sunday, and then we'll announce the new raffle. Who's ready to auction something off? Okay, Jason's is in the mail, so his is on the way, so he should be in good shape. Perfect. Now, last week I gave you a choice, a badge or a can. This week we'll do the can because we did the badge last week. So now Old School's PayPal just won't work for some reason. I don't know what the deal is. We tried a request. He called PayPal and there's just something hung up. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Hudson Badge. But let's auction off an oil can. Who's ready? So tonight we're going to auction off an Old School metal oil can. This thing's beautiful. It's brand new. It's full. I will drain it unless the buyer does not want me to and wants to pay for extra shipping to ship it full. So it is full as of right now. I plan on draining it unless the buyer wants to pay extra shipping for the weight. So, Joe, we're not going to give the train away from Toy Tuesday. So, Shopcat says that's weird because he sees 3 badges. So we could do this. It could be like 1 badge, 2 badge, 3 badge. I don't know. I'll see if I've got 2 of these badges because that would really mess everybody up. So let's check out this oil can. And this is open auction. This is will include shipping empty in the 48 states to the high bidder. This is a Champlin can. Champlin improved LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, motor oil. Beautiful can, great colors. It's got the big, I don't know, it looks like a Star Trek symbol on it. Obviously still sealed. It actually was 2020 weight, which is kind of an odd weight. Same on both sides, but a beautiful can, great colors. Bottom's not punched. I will drain out of the bottom on this can. So anybody interested in the Champlin can, this is a live auction. Anybody can go. Anybody wants to throw $10 up there and get us started. This is all metal. It is a ribbed can. Champlin Petroleum Company, Enid, Oklahoma. Old School says he's going to bid and have big job pay. So Jason says it's pretty. We've got Old School at 15 to start us off. So Lee's in for 20. It is a great can. Like I said, beautiful piece with great graphics, great colors. Jess came in at 20, but Lee was ahead of us. So that's right. Ken Nolan says start the bidding. Facebook, you guys are in too if you want to be in. Jess is in at 25. Jess got a new oil can rack from Rico, so she probably needs some cans for it. Lee's in at 30. Old School came back at 27, but Lee beat you at 30. Jason's jumping in at 35. So we'll get ready to go. We'll check it out for a few more seconds here. Then we're going to go ahead and put it on the timer. But this oil is specifically designed for use in engines burning liquefied petroleum gases, butane or propane, or in engines using natural gas fuel. That's kind of interesting. It contains special additives to prevent oil thickening and ensures engine cleanliness. So that can't be super common that it specifically is an LPG, liquefied petroleum gas based oil. We've got Jess in at 37. Bill says, where's Primer? She's right there. I can see her on the other chair. You going to come over and see everybody, Gray Kitty? I don't think she's too interested. She looks pretty comfy. So, so that's the can. We've got Jess in at $37. We're going to go ahead and set the timer for 60 seconds on this can. Lee's in at 45. We got the stopwatch set. Dan says it's a great can, but his wife hid his checkbook. So here we go. We're going to set the timer on the last 60 seconds on the Champion can. Number one, How for the Cat. I don't think the cat's going to go anywhere. Starting right now at 60 seconds, we're on the clock. At 60 seconds, we've got Lee at 45. So Chad says Bills are ahead of the Chiefs 36-33 with 13 seconds left. That doesn't look good for the Chiefs. So timer's going. If you want to get in on this, we've got Lee at 45 on the Champion LPG oil can. Sebastian says he'd be in, but he's out of display space. So 30 seconds left. Be sure to get in. If you want to get in, now's the time. I'm watching Facebook as well. If any of you guys on Facebook want to jump in. As of right now, I've got Lee at 45. Big Job says keep going another 2 minutes and pay for the loader. 15 seconds left. If anybody else wants in, this is it. We're about down to the end. I've got Lee at 45 on the Champion can. It is a great piece. It's a beautiful piece. And we're just about done. And that is it. So we've got Lee for 45 on the Champion can. Thanks for playing, everybody. Lee Carr is our winner tonight at 45 on the Champion can. Great piece, beautiful can. Happy for you, Lee. I think it's a cool deal. So just let me know if you want me to just go ahead and drain it before I ship it to you. And if not, we'll figure out a little bit extra. But anyway, thanks for playing, everybody. The auction format has been fun. Old School brought that up. We talked about it a little bit. We said try it. So that's what we've been doing, and we've had a blast with it. So I appreciate everybody playing along, and we've had some great pieces that are, the Chevy badges on the way to Dan right now. So having a lot of fun with it. So be sure to get in for the raffle next week. We'll have another auction piece next week, and do that as well. And next week's winner is going to get both of these cans. So plus the plates, plus the spark plugs. We got a nice mix for this month's raffle. Old School says Canadian exchange rate isn't good. That's something else that the Canadians have to factor in as well. So something else I was going to ask you guys about, getting ready for the raffle, since we do have a few more people getting in. December we only had like 3 people that got in. Okay, Lee, I'll get it draining so that it's ready to go for you. So, but thanks for playing, everybody. It's a lot of fun, and these are some great pieces, and I'm super excited to be able to get some of these extra pieces onto your guys' collection. So, but we talked about in December, first part of December, raffling off a pedal car. So I want to, Jason says, don't take this the wrong way, but nice can, Lee. I've got a pedal car I was going to sell, and you guys talked about auctioning it as well. What do I do with the drained oil? I'm just draining it into like gallon jugs. I've got like 6 straight big gallon jugs I've been draining out of these cans. I haven't done anything with it at this point. But is anybody interested in doing the pedal car? If we do the pedal car on a raffle, I will figure up what shipping will be to start with, so everybody knows going in that there's going to be shipping on that. But kick that around if anybody's interested in doing the pedal car. Number one, Fun Day Sunday here at Nobody's, where everybody's a somebody. That's exactly right. Sebastian says he'd be in on a pedal car. Old School says a pedal car is too large. Yeah, shipping to Canada on the pedal car would be crazy expensive. So, and that's why I'm throwing it out there. That's what I'm kind of want, everybody's opinion. Do we want to, because when I talked about selling that one pedal car, there were 2 or 3 guys right out of the gate said, let's raffle it. So David W says International Harvester had LPG engines in their trucks. So that's probably could have been what those were for. Cement Server says door hinge oil. Yeah, it worked great for like door hinge oil and stuff. So Mary on Facebook says she's in for the raffle. So CSC3@cox.net. Yep, that should be it. I will double check that after we get off here. So Old School says stick to small things, and there is definitely some advantage to shipping small things. It's just, we had some guys jump right off the gate about wanting to raffle that pedal car. So I'm throwing it out there as a possibility. Mary said she loved the pedal car. Kenny, quick question. I'm wondering, was there any connection between Essex Motors and Esso Oil Corporation? I don't think not that I know of. So I don't think there was. I'm not saying there wasn't, but I don't think there was. Big Job says pedal car would be cool. Kenny says pedal car. Ken Nolan, do I have any 39 to 42 Dodge or Fargos? I assume we're talking truck. I've got a few 39 to 46 era Dodge trucks. They've all been fairly heavily picked. The pedal car was a yellow one that we did on Toy Tuesday. It was a 60s era pedal car. So I'll think about that a little bit more and see if we want to do that. Cement Surfer says no more badges. Well, we got to show everybody the Hudson badge at least. But Norma says the Chiefs are in overtime. KC tied it up, Kim said. So the Kansas City tied it up. It's tied up 36, so they are going to overtime the way it sounds. So anyway, I'm thinking about the pedal car. We'll kick it around a little bit. I may measure it and see kind of what shipping is going to be to just like the East Coast, so we've got an idea if we do decide to raffle the pedal car. So Kevin says Kevin just got here, says he's late. He had company that just left. That's all right. You still got in here towards the end, so that's okay. But anyway, kick that around. We'll think about what we'll do with that. Randy says 38 DeSoto taillights. Don't have anything there at all. What else has been going on? New inventory wise, didn't get much done this week. My winch broke. I had to get a new end plate for my winch. I got it Friday. I've got it on, so I've got to do some hauling this week for sure. The only thing that came in this week was a 1983 Suburban diesel. So kind of a cool truck, Silverado Suburban, third row seat, rear air. Was a fairly well loaded up Suburban in its day. It's rough. It's just a parts truck, but it's a complete Suburban, half ton. I think it's 2-wheel drive diesel Suburban. So we'll be getting a video up on that as well. Anything square body, definitely worth grabbing anymore, especially a complete truck, even though it's a little rough. Got a super cool Laverne grill guard on the front of it. Definitely a period piece. Shopcat. Ooh, look, you found a bottle of Canadian CC 100% rye. I assume that means Canadian Club, maybe. We'll throw that up there for you. Sebastian Taylor. Essex was its own company originally, but it was bought by Hudson. Esso was a early version of Exxon. And I think that all sounds correct, Sebastian, from what I remember. So, Jason says, well, if you got company, Kevin, make them watch. So, Old School, when's the loader going to be ready? I am hoping sooner rather than later. It's been over 2 months now. I'm running out of places to roll cars off the trailers at, because it's when that guy brought the Suburban out today. He delivered it, and I was trying to find a hole to roll it off in. Brandon's a 6.2 diesel. I think it was a 6.2. So Randy's bailing off. He's got to get up early. Chat. How many styles of T-shirts do you offer? As of right now, this is the only shirt that I've got available. I've got some other ones that I want to do, but as of right now, this one is the only one that I've got with the 40 Ford cab over on the back and nobody on the front. So you can also do PayPal or check or money order on the T-shirts. That information is in the text part of these videos as well. Joe's got to bail off. He's going to see us next week. Glad you made it, Joe. Kim says number one's killing her on football bets this week. So Kenny, hopefully we'll be getting some money. We'll be getting some money hopefully this week to get in on the raffles. So hopefully you can get in as well. Let's see. Ken Nolan likes the white 96 Suburban I've got. Let's see. Lots of comments popping up, trying to keep up here. Sebastian Taylor found one of those Suburbans, unable to save from the scrap heap. That's why this one, it's rough, but it's complete. So I definitely wanted to grab it. Number one, Badge Engineering, Dirty Magazines, History Pop Quiz, auctions, maybe add a bar and grill. Alfred's got a 4-door crew cab 82 Chevy pickup diesel. BW's garage, all these glasses clanking, this chat room floor going to be sticky. That's another good point. So we'll just throw that up there for you too. Jason's on a fridge run. We got a badge up right now, Jason. You better get back. Dan's great granddaughter's 15 months old. She'd like a pedal car, but the checkbook would take a hit. Number one, you should hide a wild turkey on the inside of some of your shirts and charge triple. That's a good point. Eric, what oil cans do I have for sale? I've got hundreds of cans. I do have some duplicates that I would sell. That's why we ended up auctioning this one tonight. So Brandon says it's Sunday night church. So Joe says World War II aircraft stuff on Toy Tuesday. Actually, that is what we do need to do this week. That's kind of what I was thinking. I keep telling you guys I'm going to work some more of that in. So I think this Toy Tuesday is going to be some World War II aircraft stuff as we're leading into what we got coming on this week for videos. Since the diesel Suburban was the only thing that came in this week, definitely got to pick some more cars and trucks up this week. But what's coming up for videos, we will try to do some World War II stuff on Toy Tuesday this weet. I've still got one more video from my buddy's yard we need to get up. I've got several videos shot as well. Shopcat, I'm not single enough for that dang Hudson Badge. Toss it up there again. Bill says, hey, Dan, can you go to Summit and buy him a brand new pedal car? Just not quite as cool as the original ones. So Big Shop says, Father Chad. Yeah. Jason says, put some cans on eBay. Ken Nolan, I have some rib connector pieces that came out of a car from a World War II plane. Yeah, and I don't have any cans ready to list on eBay. I've just been grabbing onesies and twosies here for the Sunday night deal. But I've got that other video from my buddy's yard I need to put up. I've got a video shot on the 61 Impala, 4-door, 53 Chevy farm truck, 71 Olds 88. I've got all those videos already shot. Got to get a video on the diesel Suburban that came in today. So lots of stuff going on there as well. So there's the Hudson Badge. So Old School is going to bail off. Glad you made it tonight and hung out with us for most of the night. And that pretty much gets to the end of my notes. So anyway, to recap what maybe we should call it Badge Confessions. Scott, how can I watch Toy Tuesday on YouTube? The Nobody's Show channel on YouTube. I've got tons of videos on there. So you can go to the Nobody's Show channel on YouTube. Go to YouTube, punch in Nobody's Show. Be sure to click subscribe and be sure to click notifications so it tells you when we go live. We do it at 7 o'clock Central Time, Tuesday evenings. So, and that I do on my phone out in the shop. So I'm just working off of my phone while I'm doing it. And I'm holding the phone showing stuff. So there's no way to do two formats on that. So that's why we're just on YouTube on Toy Tuesday. So be sure to definitely love to have you over there, Scott, if you can. So, but anyway, that's to kind of recap some of the questions I've got. Do we want to do the pedal car for the raffle? I'm curious as to what you guys think about that. Sounds like the 100th episode and probably the next few episodes will be some recaps of, starting back from when I kind of halfway patched this thing together a couple years ago and set up a couple cameras on Sunday night and we started talking. So, and it's turned into this, and all your guys' support and everything you guys do, you share it around, you invite your friends. Some of you guys throw super chats out there to help out what we're doing. It's amazing that you guys think enough of this to jump on and be part of it and comment and share your knowledge with not only me, but with our other viewers, and have really made this such an awesome group. So always excited to see some new names on here like we've had tonight, and the last few weeks we've had 2 or 3 new ones every time. It's been great. So tell your friends, invite them over to hang out and see what we're doing here. So anyway, thanks to all of you for being here. This is what makes it. A lot of you guys are there. We're getting to the end. A lot of you guys are tossing up there thanking me for it, but this is all about a lot of what you guys do as well and what you bring to the table to make this thing happen. BW says, check out Kim's handiwork. You with all your sign painting collection, you might like to see the cartoon Kim painted on the 55 glove box. So be sure to check out the BW's Garage channel, see what Kim's been up to on their 55. Chad says he appreciates everything, always has a good time. Number 1 says, everybody bring a friend next week as a designated driver. That's a great point. Everybody bring a friend next week. That's an even better idea. Sebastian says he found your channel 2 weeks ago. Looking forward to some more great videos. Thanks. Jason just hit the nail on the head. All you guys are awesome. And that's the best way to put it, because everybody that's on here, we've got such a great group that makes this thing what it is. So, and there again, when you guys bring your friends, when you support the show by being here, by bringing friends with super chats, by supporting the raffles, things like that, buying t-shirts, all that stuff is what makes it fun. It's what makes it a community. It's what makes this thing what it is. So, Shopcat says check out Randall R and Ramblin' Valley Rose. I have not heard of those channels. It'll be worth checking out. So Kevin said he saw Kim's painting and it's good. So that's definitely sounds like it's worth checking out. Got to squeeze this in a few more times. So Tim's been here watching. Glad you're here. And we'll get ready to wrap up. Stay tuned for the new videos coming out this week. We will do a Toy Tuesday live. We will definitely try to do World War II stuff Toy Tuesday this week. And get some things put together for next week. Kim said KC does win. So that's awesome. At least I think it's awesome. I'm not a huge football fan, but obviously I'm 3 or 4 hours from Kansas City. It's the closest NFL team to me. So Kim says KC does win. So they are going on moving forward. Any parts for a 70 Nova? The only thing I've got in 68 to 72 Nova, I've got 1 4-door. So if it's stuff that will interchange off a 4-door, I've got a little bit, but not a ton of 68 to 72 Nova stuff. Joe says definitely looking forward to World War II aircraft stuff Tuesday night. So Dan says good show. Jason's ready to sign out. Well, and there again, like I said, we're getting ready to wrap it up anyway. Keep an eye on the comments. Big Job says that we need to go live with BW. That's always a possibility as well. And that would be fun to do some of that collaboration type stuff. Gita Jose, same thing, just threw up Chiefs won. So I'm excited about that. I mean, even though I'm not a huge football fan, I'm still glad to hear the Chiefs win. There's the Hudson Badge. So if anybody's got any beer left or any of their drink left, we'll get ready for the week. I'm going to try to pick up some more cars. We'll get some more cool videos out. We'll do Toy Tuesday live on some World War II stuff. I'm going to keep an eye on comments for the next few seconds as we tick down here. Try to catch most of them because, like I said, it never fails. As soon as I hit the end stream button, boom, like 5 things pop up. Kevin was only here for a short time, but definitely enjoyed. Well, I'm glad you guys do. And I'm glad you guys make this thing what it is. We'll get the Hudson Badge in there one more time. Ken Noel says he doesn't even bother following sports anymore. So Kenny says he's got some friends overseas that he's gonna share the link with them. That's great. And that's what's awesome. That not only do you guys support it, you support it enough and you think enough about it to invite your friends over to try to build it and make it even bigger and better. So thanks for watching, everybody. Keep an eye on comments here for the last few seconds. Rusty Nails is signing off. And thanks for all the applause and all the support. Like I said, this isn't about me. Number one, when was the Toy Tuesday pedal car episode? I think it was first part of December. I don't remember. I'd have to double check that and see. I'll get it out Tuesday night. We'll talk about it again Tuesday night, as a matter of fact. As long as some World War II stuff, I will get that pedal car out, and we'll look at it Tuesday night, and we'll talk about it a little bit then as well. But I think it was first part of December. There's one I did over in the new shop with a couple of pedal cars over there that night. I don't remember what else was on that video, though. So, but I'll get it out, and we'll look at it again Tuesday night and talk about it for the raffle. So thanks, everybody. It looks like most of the comments we're getting now are signing offs and good nights. So thanks a lot, everybody. Number one just hiccuped. We'll throw that up there one more time just for you, number one. And we're going to bail off here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Sebastian says, see you on Toy Tuesday. Terry says they got to play the Bengals again. Yep, I think that is who they've got. BW says, great show, like the Essex Badge. Big Job says, now we need a theme song. Hadn't thought about a theme song. That's a signing off theme song, I guess. I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. The problem with that is if it's copyrighted with YouTube, they'll red flag your videos. So that's something else you've got to be real careful about when you use background music. Even if it is just a theme song, it would have to be something that YouTube didn't original or didn't scan it as an original song to somebody else and then red flag it for copyright infringement. So anyway, that's what we've got for tonight. I'll keep an eye on comments for a few more seconds. They're all pretty much signing off, I think. So I'm going to bail off of here. Good night, everybody. Ken Nolan says use Ted Nugent's Stranglehold for a theme song. I actually do like that song, though. That is a pretty good song. But Trailer for Sale or Rent theme song, not copyrighted. So anyway, thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for making this what it is. Thanks for the support. Thanks for inviting your friends. Like I said, get in on the raffle for next week. We'll have another auction piece next week, and we will have more videos coming up this week as well as Toy Tuesday. Thanks for being here. We'll get a new episode built next Sunday night for episode number 98. 2 more regular episodes. Then we'll get into a couple of flashback episodes at episode number 100. So thanks for being here tonight, everybody. I super appreciate you swinging by, spending what's turning into a good chunk of your Sunday evening with me and making this thing what it is. So Kenny just threw up just the good old boys. That'd be awesome if you could use the Duke's theme song. Would be super awesome. But I'm pretty sure that's copyrighted. So, but it would fit a lot of this group. So, Can Nolan says good night. Put the wild turkey back in the box. That's a good plan. So, with that, I'm signing out. Thanks for being here, everybody. We definitely hope to see you Tuesday night at 7 o'clock for Toy Tuesday. And if not, we definitely hope to see you back here next Sunday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, Sunday night live chat. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we will see you soon on the next video.